You want to know why no one trusts the mainstream news media and why less and less and less people are watching it? This story. So here's NBC News. Trump says there will be a bloodbath if he loses the election. Trump made the comment at a rally in Ohio where he spoke about auto manufacturing. The Biden campaign responded by criticizing the former president's threat of political violence. Trump's bloodbath warning.
What are you? Did you see Steve Marmel's tweet? You remember Marmel, that comic?
Yeah.
He goes, January 6th is the only context I need for him saying bloodbath.
Well, I know Steve Marmel. I like Steve Marmel. I think he's
maybe it's another Marmel.
I think he's a sweet, swell guy. I think that there's a lot of people who think when they turn on NBC News and hear or read the New York Times or the Boston Globe or the Washington Post, and they read the news about January 6th, they believe it. And I think that's probably what happened.
It wasn't even a bath.
So they don't know that January 6th was complete what you're told in the mainstream news media about January 6th is wrong.
Yeah.
And they suppressed all the information. That's why it was a show trial. That's why they actually didn't do a real trial of Donald Trump for insurrection and trying to overthrow the government, because they knew that Trump would get to put on a defense and it would show that they were lying about it and that this was orchestrated by the FBI.
It's weird that
that's what happened.
How many things do you have against him?
So that all 91 counts. Felony counts against Donald Trump. Not one of them over January 6th. Isn't that weird? So there's a lot of good people. I used to be one of those people who thought that when I turned on MSNBC, I was getting the truth. So I don't judge those people. I don't say they're bad people. I say they make the mistake of thinking that what they're seeing on the news is real. And here's a perfect example of what we're talking about, Kurt.
Yeah.
So I'm sure my old roommate will see this story and believe it. He's a sweetheart of a guy. I love him.
But now
he's very funny.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times I point out to him that they're lying to you at MSNBC, just like they're lying to you at Fox News and CNN and the Washington Post and the New York Times, they just can't wrap their mind around it. Just like people can't wrap their mind around the fact that they've been lied to on an enormous scale about COVID. They just can't. Now the new thing, by the way, is it's COVID. COVID's over. That's the new thing. So you don't mind? Doesn't mind that you were lied to?
Oh, tell Taylor Lorenz.
Right. So here, let me get to the story. So here's what Trump said.
Donald Trump on the attack this weekend in Ohio, lashing out at some of his favorite targets, from the criminal cases against him.
It's all politics. It's all coming in from Biden.
To what he claims are the criminal migrants crossing the southern border and destroying the country.
I like how they show pictures of children coming across. They don't show the military-aged Chinese people coming across or the people of military age from Uzbekistan. They don't show the people that Joe Biden literally flew in on jets into the United States. This is a criminal assault on the United States, and it's being perpetrated by your own government and the billionaire class, and they play on your heartstrings like this. Okay,
well, it's hard when that girl got killed, and then you apologize for saying illegal.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to try to pull this off.
Yeah, yes.
In my opinion, but I'm not allowed to say that because the radical left says that's a terrible thing to say. These are animals, okay?
But it was his use of the word bloodbath during a riff about Trump.
So you see how they even had to cut that?
You already know they're trying to make it look like something. By the way, the guy that killed that woman is an animal. If that's who he's talking about, I have no problem with it.
That's right.
These car makers that's creating new headlines and headaches for his campaign.
We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
The Biden campaign seizing on the remark and rejecting the Trump campaign.
So then everybody went nuts saying Trump is threatening political violence. There's going to be a bloodbath if he's not reelected. He meant an economic bloodbath for the car industry. I think it's pretty clear even there, but NBC News still tries to push the lie. Here, listen to what the Biden administration said.
Claimed that it was about only cars.
Yeah.
So here is NBC News. MSNBC says Trump says there will be a bloodbath if he loses the election. That was their tweet.
Are they just campaigning now for?
So now they're just campaigning for Joe Biden. They're just flat out, the media is doing that. It got community noted. Community notes. MSNBC, and here's the community notes. But by the way, community notes is a lot of times complete bullshit, but this time they weren't. Donald Trump was talking about the automobile manufacturing industry and potential economic turmoil, not political violence. The full quote appears at 34 minutes in this video. And they link to the C-SPAN.
January 6th was my...
Here is... Even taken out of context, Bloodbath doesn't sound so bad.
Everybody says it.
Here's Joe Scarborough, Donald Trump's America, and he's proud of it. Promise another bloodbath if he loses again. And of course, he picks to a 13-second video of the FBI inspired riot, because that's what it was, at the Capitol. He doesn't show you video of the guys walking through respectfully in the Capitol, being greeted by police officers, taking selfies with police officers.
Where's the blood?
They don't show you that. Huh, that's interesting.
The bloodbath of a woman who got shot by the cops? He ain't showing that.
Only, yeah. So Joe Scarborough tweets that out, right? And then Elon Musk comes by and says, hey, January 6th was not a bloodbath by any definition. And Trump was referring to job losses in the auto industry when he used that word. Your post is extremely misleading.
Oh.
So Joe Scarborough's like, oh, I made an honest mistake and I took it down.
Oh, I'm chagrined.
Because Elon Musk called me out for it, right? No, he goes back to Scarborough country and listen to what he says.
He's talking about a bloodbath for America. It's laid out in the terms of it. And these idiots on Twitter, these idiots on cable news, these idiots on Sunday shows going, well, president, he was talking only about the auto industry, and this is one more. It's just bullshit.
First of all, if your tweet was true, why did you delete it, Joe? Because he knew he couldn't get away with that shit on Twitter, but he could go back to the safe confines of Scarborough country and lie to his audience. And that's what he's doing. So this is, and by the way, how many times do I have to tell you this? The people who are the most triggered by Donald Trump have Donald Trump in their shadow. So this is him acting exactly like they would describe Donald Trump would act. He's being petulant, he's swearing, he's being vulgar, he's lying, and he's calling other people idiots and morons. Tell me this isn't exactly what they say Trump acts like. This is exactly what they say Trump acts like. And Joe Scarborough is acting that way because his ego got hurt, because he is exactly the egomaniac they say that Donald Trump is. He is a narcissist, thin-skinned egomaniac, and that's why he's triggered by Donald Trump. Again, I'm not triggered by Donald Trump. I'm triggered by the economic conditions in this country that made half the country willing to take a chance on a billionaire game show host real estate agent. And here he is calling everybody an idiot and being vulgar at the same time. Let's watch a little bit more.
I don't think he is triggered, by the way. I think he's just a liar. I think he
say that at 6:15 a.m. It's just bullshit. He knew what he was doing. We're not stupid. Americans aren't stupid.
Your audience is stupid. Who
is watching you?
After,
De Niro?
After 6 years of Russiagate, after 6 years of you lying about Syria, after 6 years of you lying about Ukraine and COVID and Fauci and lockdowns and mandates and Russiagate, and now you're lying about this. Who is still watching you?
The only married news team.
Who is still watching you?
He was talking about a bloodbath. Sometimes a bloodbath means a bloodbath.
He didn't even know what to say. He was talking about, I didn't think this through. A bloodbath. Sometimes a bloodbath means what?
And when he finishes by saying, and that's just going to be the least of it, seriously, these people may be stupid. We're not.
No, you're a liar.
No, you're a liar. But the people who watch you are stupid. Or I think what it is probably they like being lied to.
Yeah,
I saw a comedian.
That's true.
I saw a lesbian comedian who I like and think is very funny. And she went up and she did a bit about, I don't care what it is. Just tell me something bad about Donald Trump. Rachel Maddow, I turn around every night. Just tell me something horrible about Donald Trump. That's all I want. She might have even said, I don't care if it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what she said? She said, I don't even care if it's true. I just want to hear something bad about Donald Trump. And that's what MSNBC is. And now you know why, 70%, 80% of the country doesn't trust corporate media anymore? And so here's a little bit longer of a...
It was a distinction without a difference.
So here's what he's saying about... So when it was pointed out to him that a bloodbath... This is from Merriam-Webster. Bloodbath, a great slaughter. Also, a notably fierce, violent, or destructive contest or struggle. Or B, a major economic disaster. It's in the dictionary. That's a definition. A major economic disaster. So once this was pointed out to him... But you want to see more of it? Crypto market bloodbaths. Bloodbath New Age tech. Meme coin Solana merges outliers crypto market bloodbath. Market bloodbath continues with investors to lose tens of trillions.
Well, when he says it means something different.
So here is Joe Scarborough going to completely contradict reality. This is like when Kyle Kalinske said that corruption didn't mean what it meant. He said that words mean something. And I showed him the definition of corruption. And Kyle Kalinske at least stopped lying and saying that the squad wasn't corrupt by definition, because by definition, the squad is corrupt. And so Joe Scarborough's pulling a Kyle Kalinske here, trying to lie to you what the definition of a bloodbath is. So here's what he says. Watch this.
He's talking about a bloodbath for America. It's laid out in the terms of it. And these idiots on Twitter, these idiots.
So now I showed you that. Here's another clip. What? Listen to this.
I hope Trump.
It was a distinction.
I hope Trump wipes out MSNBC.
Without a difference. It was a distinction without a difference.
So he's saying. So when it was pointed out to him that no, he was talking about an economic bloodbath. Joe Scarborough says that's a distinction without a difference. You're fucking nuts. And how stupid is your audience to believe? He knows just how stupid his audience is. They just want to believe something bad about Donald Trump, and that's why he's allowed to get away with this. And let's remember, all bets are off because it's Donald Trump. Joe Scarborough is allowed to lie like this about a former president of the United States over and over. Even though he couldn't get away with it on Twitter, he knows he can get away with it on MSNBC. So let's watch this again.
It was a distinction without a difference. He was talking about the auto industry. Then he pivots. He goes, it's going to be a bloodbath. So, okay. Maybe if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. Okay, maybe you can connect that to the auto industry. Maybe you can. Okay. But again, I've never really heard people discuss macroeconomics in terms of bloodbaths.
Okay, well, here it is. Here's it is in the goddamn dictionary right there. And then here's all those other examples I just gave you that just all you have to do is Google it. Google bloodbath. Market bloodbath. And look what comes up. They constantly, he's never heard of it before. This is from a guy who hosts a news show. So now he's just making stuff up to lie. He's doing the thing they claim Donald Trump does. He can't stop lying because his ego is threatened. That's all this is. So Joe Scarborough is a mental case liar who's triggered by Donald Trump, just like Cenk Uygur and Keith Olbermann are triggered by Donald Trump because they are the thing they claim Donald Trump is. Cenk Uygur, Keith Olbermann, Joe Scarborough are huge lying egomaniac narcissists, and they project that onto Donald Trump. And so when they see Donald Trump, they get angry, but what they're really angry at is the part of themselves that they have siloed off from themselves. That's why they're triggered. You can tell a lot about yourself by the things that you love and by the things that you hate. And the things that you hate and get the biggest rise out of you have something to do with you. This is what Carl Jung has proven. And so that's why when you see, everyone has seen how Cenk Uygur's lied about a myriad things, let alone forced the vote over and about me and about supporting bombing Syria and Ukraine and Libya and everything. And so he throws that onto Donald Trump, like somehow we got to fight Donald Trump because he's a liar. And that's the same thing with Joe Scarborough. That's the same thing with Keith Olbermann. And all bets are off. You're allowed to lie about Donald Trump. The media, nobody in the establishment will hold your feet to the fire if you lie about Donald Trump because they've convinced themselves that we're fighting Hitler. And why do they have to do that? Because Donald Trump won't do the wars the way they like to. And he's hated by the donor class. So now they've convinced everybody that he's got to be Hitler. So we got, sounds
like a bloodbath.
Sounds like a bloodbath.
So Keith Olbermann hates him, which I find hilarious. According to Olbermann, Joe Biden loves the show Morning Joe.
That's right.
So that's who his audience
So
is.
this is who he's...
That's
right.
Here's what a piece of shit Scarborough is. Back in 2005, he interviewed Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and he expressed concerns about the possibility that one of his sons may have suffered vaccine damage because he was born with a slight form of autism called Asperger's. He said, when I was practicing law and when I was in Congress, parents would constantly come to me and they would bring me videotapes of their children. They were all around the age of my son or younger. So something happened in 1989.
Joe Scarborough's
That's Joe
Joe
Scarborough.
Scarborough. And that's also Robert De Niro.
Yeah. So
I have videotapes of
shit.
I have,
he's not
I have a video
triggered by anything. He's a lizard.
I have a videotape of Robert De Niro, which I've showed on this show, where he wanted to show that movie Vaxxed at his film festival in New York City. And he had to go on the Today Show and say, there's something happening. There's something there. We have to look at vaccines and if it's damaging children. He was vehement about it. And then, of course, he got the phone call and he axed that video, that movie, that documentary from his film festival, the Tribeca Film Festival, and he never talked about it again. And now the guys who hate Donald Trump the most are Donald Trump. Just like Robert De Niro, just like Joe Scarborough, just like Keith Olbermann, just like Cenk Uygur, they are Donald Trump. And so you want to know how I know? Watch this.
He was talking about a bloodbath. Sometimes a bloodbath means a bloodbath. On the eve of this bloodbath, it was going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath. Would be an absolute bloodbath.
Bloodbath. This bloodbath in South Carolina.
There's going to be a bloodbath. There will be a bloodbath at the convention.
An absolute bloodbath.
This was going to be a bloodbath. Does this nominee get through without a bloodbath?
Hashtag bloodbath.
We're going to be having bloodbaths. This would be a bloodbath. It would be a bloodbath. Seriously?
Yeah. But when Trump says that,
seriously,
it's wrong.
so there's I don't know 50 examples of Joe Scarborough referring to politics as a bloodbath.
But sometimes
somehow,
it's a bloodbath.
But somehow when Trump does it, it's horrible.
Because he's bad.
So do you understand why nobody trusts these people anymore? You understand why I think it's lower than Congress to trust the people have in corporate media.
That's pretty low.
And it's because they don't give a shit, because he knows he's going to get a paycheck at the end of the week, no matter how many times he lies, because he's lying at the behest of the establishment. Again, when you lie for the establishment, there's never a price to pay. Rachel Maddow lied about Russiagate at the top of her lungs for 5 straight years, and she get punished for lying? No, she got rewarded with a $35 million a year contract, which is $100,000 a day. That's how much Rachel Maddow makes a day when she goes into work, $100,000 a day. And so, just like Julian Assange isn't in prison for lying, if he was lying, he'd have his own show on MSNBC or CNN or Fox. He told the truth, which is why he's sitting rotting in a Belmarsh prison, they're hoping he dies before they bring him to trial. You don't get in trouble for telling lies. You get in trouble. So, and here, watch this.
What I heard was a continuation of the same rhetoric, the same endorsement of political violence that we've seen from Donald Trump for years, as you pointed out. It goes even farther back, right? This is the same guy who, after Nazis marched on Charlottesville and killed a woman, said there were very fine people on both sides.
What is Joe Biden saying about the Nazis in Ukraine? He's literally funding them. What is Joe Biden saying about the genociders in Gaza? He's literally funding them. So do you see how the corporate media establishes a narrative that Donald Trump's the guy for political violence? Meanwhile, his opponent is a genocider. His opponent's been for every genocidal war. He was part of the administration that did a genocide in Libya, that did a genocide in Yemen. Look what they did to Iraq. He was the biggest supporter of the Iraq war, Joe Biden. Now Ukraine, and now he's funding a genocide in Gaza. But they want you to make it, you got to think. So now do you understand why nobody trusts these people? And I like that they got a black guy to do it, right? So, hey, we'll get a black guy to come on and lie.
Yeah,
and who's he lying with? You know this news station has integrity because they hired Joe Biden's former press secretary as a news anchor.
He's
Of
getting
course, you know
inside.
you're getting the real truth from Joe Biden's former press secretary. You know what a press secretary is? They're the paid liars.
She should be Dancing with the Stars, but she's talking about current events.
Well, here it is. Politico. Bloodbath at RNC. Trump team slashes staff at committee. The Guardian. RNC bloodbath begins as more than 60 staffers are terminated. Salon. Absolute bloodbath at the RNC. Mediaite. Absolute bloodbath. Republicans nervous as Trumpers purge RNC following MAGA takeover. Here's more. Bloodbath. Trump is now fundraising off comments that sparked media frenzy. Wait a minute. You guys use bloodbath all the time. But when Donald Trump does it, it's bad.
January 6th, Jimmy, you're not getting it.
Biden campaign releases ad featuring Trump bloodbath comments. You know why? Because he's showing what liars you all are. And that's why I have a show. That's why this show's popular. Because I don't have to lie about my political opponents to make a point or to win. And that's all these people do. That's what people with MSNBC contracts do. They lie to win. That's all it is.
But they're not winning. Like, okay, this threat that Trump's going to, like I said, if Trump did anything to MSNBC, I'd fully support it. He's not gonna. They're making it sound like he's going to do better things than he's going to do. I know. Which is wipe out MSNBC. He's not going to do that.
Let me just say this, Kurt. If Biden does not win, no one can say that it's because the corporate media didn't lie hard enough for him.
That's true. Don't blame Joe.
You can always feel like you lied your hardest, and that's something.
Guy lied his heart out. Played a great game, lied his heart out.
And these people who watch these television shows are in my life. They watch them and they think my old roommate, sweetest guy in the world, hilarious.
Boomers.
They watched and they think they're getting the truth from these people. And it doesn't matter how many times you show, just like people with COVID. It doesn't matter how many times I can show you that Fauci said one thing and said the exact opposite. I can show you that the released emails show that they were lying about Wuhan lab and where the virus came, that he lied about masks, that he lied about the efficacy of the vaccines, that he lied about transmission and contraction. I can show you a million things that he lied about natural immunity. He lied about herd immunity. Over and over again. I can show you that. And it just...
Because it's not about that.
It's not about the truth.
It's not about that at all.
It's about religion.
It's about a feeling.
It's about a feeling, and it's about religion, and it's about hating your political enemies, and so they have to just ignore everything.
You know what? You're right about that thing of the people, the viewers want to be lied to, because that's, people always, these TV preachers that preach prosperity gospel and God wants you to be rich. The people going to that, the little old ladies that they're swindling, those little old ladies, that's a drug they're paying for that they want.
That is.
And you can't talk them out of it. And they'll get sharp. If they're not getting enough drug for the money they're pumping in, they'll get smart and stop putting in the plate. But they want to hear that stuff. They want to hear wealth and all that bullshit. That's what this is. It really is. But they're in on it too, the viewers.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you hate shitty coffee? I, for one, really hate shitty coffee, which is why I'm excited to introduce to you a company that's revolting against shitty coffee, and it's called the 1775 Coffee Company. Now, I haven't had it yet because I only drink decaf. Steph has had it. Steph, how do you like it?
I really like it. You know what? I have a French press, and so I've been using my French press and totally enjoying it. It's delicious. It's smooth.
So 1775, the world awake. In 1775, the world awakened to a new era. And now it's 1775 Coffee Company is bringing you a coffee that embodies that revolutionary spirit. Crafted with passion and precision, our beans are ethically and exclusively sourced from the finest coffee beans farms of Bolivia. Didn't know that. 1775 Coffee Company's farm to cup journey ensures the highest quality of authenticity and sustainability from start to finish. With each sip, your palate will recognize and appreciate the dedication and passion that goes into crafting this single-sourced brew. 1775 Coffee Company takes pride in offering customers a truly exceptional coffee experience with their premium coffee collection. But their dedication to this revolution extends beyond the realm of taste. Safeguarding freedom of speech is critical right now, which is why 1775 Coffee Company has joined forces with Rumble in defense of one of our most fundamental rights, freedom of speech. Coffee that's sure to awaken all your senses, including the sense of freedom. So choose 1775 Coffee by going to 1775coffee.com/litter. That's LITTER, and use the code LITTER for 10% off the checkout on your first order. 1775 Coffee, brewed to perfection, crafted with revolution. Come see us do a live stand-up show. We're going to be in Stockholm, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, London, Oslo, Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, Cortland, New York, Oakmont, Pennsylvania, El Paso, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Edmonton, Alberta, Vancouver, British Columbia, and Denver, Colorado. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets.